We ended our last class saying that you need to wait for the right moment, for God's moment to strike when evil's at its highest point, because that's its falling point. And you see throughout Tehillim, throughout Psalms, that David HaMelech waits so much on Hashem to say, you'll take out my enemies, not me. You'll take them out at its time, at its point. And Yaakov is so patient. That's the Chokhmah. That's the wisdom. That's the Torah you need to have. The Torah should build so much trust in Hashem that you will wait on Hashem to take out evil. Not you. Not by force. By force, by guns, by machine, that's force. That's Esav. That's the sword. As I might have mentioned earlier, the old Pesach Haggadah, the Pesach Seder, the book that we read from, when it talks about the four sons, one's being the Chacham, the wise, the simple, the evil, and the one that doesn't know how to ask. We're not going to get into that right now. When it comes to the Chacham, he dressed like Chacham, a sage, a guy with a nice long beard and peyot and so forth. But when it comes to the Rasha, he used to have pictures of a regular person with a sword in his pocket, not even attacking anyone. Why is that a Rasha? Because he's already ready. He's already geared. He's already symbolizing, what do I stand for? I stand by my own force at my time. We are not to live by the sword at all. That's what we're here and we're told by. And now we're going to continue the lesson. So we said, V'yakoveni ze pa'amim. They tricked me 2 times. The Targum Onkelos says, V'chakameni, that means wisdom. V'ze bichinat shemesh. Because that the sekel, it's like a great light for it in all his ways, like the sun. Now, when we say that the sun is corresponding to Yaakov, for an example, Yaakov we're going to now put into the perspective of let's say a Mashiach or a Tzaddik. So what does that mean? So many people want to say we don't need a tzaddik, we don't need a leader. I don't think anyone thinks we don't need a Mashiach per se, but people don't like intermediaries, and that is where it gets very choppy. There's a reason why there's so many non-Jews who would worship the sun for so many years. We actually think they're meshuggah, that they're crazy, but really they were really wise and smart. They made a calculation. They made a cheshbon. Today we worship money. We worship fake idols. American Idol. We worship the things we have. What worship means all the time we invest in. We invest time in sports, in video games. This is all fake. And then they worship the sun that gave life, that gave light, that shined up the day. They gave heat. Without it, everything dies. It's a great cheshbon, really. It's nothing so crazy to really, if you just think about it for a moment. So the sun is a servant of God. It gives life to everything. And why am I saying this now? Is because you say, well, maybe I don't need this. Maybe I don't need this tzaddik, we'll say. And no, and you say, I'm just going to go to God. Or you say, I don't need anything in between. I just need me and God. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. God doesn't just shine his light, kaviyachol, on us. He uses the sun as a servant. Shemesh means servant as well as sun. To pour on us his goodness, to bestow goodness upon us, because he's infinite and we need something to attach to. We're like babies. We need some kind of teaching. So the sun teaches us something. It teaches us about God. That's the wisdom that's inside the sun. And just as the sun now gives physical light, so the Kokma, the Tzaddik, someone like Yaakov, he gives spiritual life. Spiritual life needs to be given to you. Though he gets it from the sun, or though he gets it from his main source, from Hashem, it needs to be transmitted through the sun onto you. וזה בחינת ואורח צדיקים כאור נוגה הולך ואור עד נכון היום. And this is corresponding to that the ways of the tzaddikim, it's like an amazing light that's gonna radiate for them, and it's a light onto the end of day or the middle of day, nachon hayom, the middle of the day. V'zeh b'chinat chet. So now we said that this is corresponding to the great light, the way that tzaddikim basically walk, and this is light, chet, which is lashon chiyut. Because the letters in chet can spell chiyut or lu to chiyut, or the meaning of the letter chet means chiyut, means life. Ki ha-chokhmah v'asekel hu ha-chiyut shel kol davar. Kemoshe katuv in Kohelet, the 7th chapter, ha-chokhmah tichayeh, that the chokhmah of someone gives life. So we see that the chokhmah and the sekel in all things gives life to all things. I'm going to explain better. Rabbeinu Zal says, you think you eat bread. Yeah, you eat bread and you think that you live on bread, but no. When the Torah tells you that man doesn't live on bread alone, but on everything that comes out of the word, the Pi Hashem, the word of Hashem, the words that come out of Hashem's mouth. What is he saying? In one way, he says, you're living off the Torah word, the letters, the essence, the kochma that's inside of them. You think I eat bread? I don't eat the calories and the nutrients and the carbohydrates and the vitamins that are inside of it. No, I don't survive off that. No, I don't at all. And also my goof. He's saying, no, my entire body and my soul is all coming from the chiyut, the life, the kochma that's inside Kol Davar, all things, everything. It really exists because Hashem speaks it out. When you say the word shluchan, which means table, okay, the word shluchan in the Shana Kodesh is what gives the table its properties, its essence, its life. When you say the word table in English, it means nothing. It's really just a sound. English is just a sound. There's nothing holy. It might be a little bit of holiness in the word table, but nothing compared when we say the word shulchan. So Hashem saying shulchan, He gives it the whole life, the DNA, the whole structure of what it means and symbolizes on 4 different levels of the Torah, the Pardes levels of the Torah. There's so much inside the word. That's why Lashon HaKodesh, the holy language, is so holy, because it builds on something so great. And He's saying to you right now that the Chokhmah and Sechel in all things you really need to attach to, because that's Kaviyachol, that's me, Hashem screaming to you. That's me. Connect to me. Come to me when you start to focus on these inner things. And Rabbeinu is going to start to teach you more and more how to connect to it. Or you could look at Yaakov's life. If you look at Yaakov's life, you will see these things, how he was able to connect to God through the most simple of things. You see in the episode, we have a whole parak, a whole chapter. I forget if it's in Parshas, not Parshas Toldot, Vayetze, I think, when we're talking about how Yaakov was dealing with the spotted animals and how he put a stick and a rod and he made them give birth in different ways and he was able to separate them, etc. Because there's so much to learn how Yaakov saw all of God inside animals and a stick and separating them and making them spotted and not spotted. There's so much written on that because Yaakov could see God in all ways. He didn't have mitzvahs on him. He didn't have tefillin on him. He didn't have a Sefer Torah on him. He says he worked day and night for Leah and Rachel 14 years, and he worked afterwards. He worked day and night. He didn't stop working for Lavan. He was in physicality. This man is a yeshiva bacher. He only learned in yeshiva for I don't know how many years. He'd said in one place he learned 14 years without sleeping, not sleeping one night, and all of a sudden now he's working all day long, and yet he can go to Esav and say, guess what? I kept all 613 mitzvahs. How? Where? When? He was connected to God, because the 613 mitzvahs, the secret is not just keeping them at the letter of the law. The secret is, yes, you need the letter of the law for it to keep it, but you need to enter the spirit, the love, the kochmah that's inside the mitzvahs. When you connect to them, then you're living on a high level. Zohar sort of alludes to this factor that at some point, once you connect to this kochmah, when you connect to the inner essence of the mitzvot, but in order to connect to that, you also need the kli, which is the physical mitzvah. I need a lulav. I have to shake a physical lulav in order for me to get to the spiritual aspect of lulav. But Yaakov is hinting. I said he was able to do it without a lulav. He was able to connect to Hashem because he could see the sechel in all things. It was such an amazing feat. Rabbeinu one time was on a ship. And what happened was he didn't have any mitzvahs on him. He had nothing on him. But he was able to connect himself to God in such a way, which I still don't understand. It has to do with this lesson. If it gets very, 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 very deep, that he was able to connect to Hashem in all his 613 mitzvahs at all times with love and devichut. Devichut, I don't really know how to explain devichut. It's like a spiritual connection with Hashem, but not just by feeling. God forbid. It's not just, it's intellect, kochmah, as well as feeling. The kochmah builds the feeling. But I think we have to stop there with this lesson. We only got a few letters down into that this connects to chiyut. We'll have to continue in another lesson. Thank you.